Happy Wednesday, hump day, crypto fam. What it do? In today's show, I'll be breaking down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin hodlers exited capitulation above 20,000, new metric hints. Also breaking news just in, Texas passes proof of reserves Bitcoin bill requiring exchanges to cryptographically prove they have their customers' assets. And quoting Max Kaiser, Bitcoin is a store of value because it's indispensable and finite, and it's mathematically guaranteed to increase in purchasing power over time versus both fiat and gold. Now, also breaking news, the Bitcoin Standard author becomes economic advisor to El Salvador. Let's go. Dr. Saifedean Amis thinks El Salvador will be debt-free if it accumulates Bitcoin for the next 5 years. Also, big news in Cuba. Cuba Bitcoin community hosts the first ever Bitcoin-only meetup, which had 60 crypto-curious Cubans. Let's go. Also in today's show, Tether moves into Bitcoin mining in Uruguay. That's right. As part of its expansion into mining, Tether USDT cited Uruguay's capability of generating 94% of its electricity from renewable sources, including wind and solar. Also in today's show, Bitcoin parabolic rally still in play as Bitcoin flashes bullish signal. I'll be breaking down this latest analysis from crypto analysts, as well as rich dad Robert Kiyosaki predicts Bitcoin 18xing from here, hitting a whopping $500,000 per coin by 2025 and sending gold soaring to $5,000 per ounce. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this plus so much more in today's show. And welcome everyone just tuning in. This is pod episode number 1298. I'm your host JV, and today is the final day of the month for May. It's May 31st, 2023, as we close out May and enter June. Tomorrow, let's bring it. Let's start by checking out today's market watch, as you can see here on your screen. Quite a correction here in the crypto markets. Bitcoin down roughly 3%, trading back under $27,000 at the time of this recording. We have Ether down 2%, trading above 1,800, with XRP above 50 cents, but down 3% for the day, along with Cardano, Solana, BNB, and all the major cryptos. And checking out coinmarketcap.com, the current crypto market cap sitting just above $1.1 trillion, with about 34 billion in volume in the past 24 hours. Bitcoin dominance 46.2%, with the Ether dominance at 19.8%. And checking out the top 100 crypto gainers in the past 24 hours, we have XDC up 10%, trading at 3.4 cents, followed by the Graph up 2%, trading at 13 cents, followed by Quant up 1.6%, trading at $115. As you can see, very modest gains as the majority of the market is correcting and in the red. And as you can see, the same story for the weekly gainers, only a handful in the green, including Hex, GRT, and XDC. Some of the biggest losers include Pepe, down 11%, PulseX down 11%, and CFX down about 12%. And checking out the Crypto Greed and Fear Index, we're currently rated neutral of 51. Yesterday, the same of 51. Last week, a 50. And last month, a 63 in greed. So there you have it. And welcome again to everyone just tuning in. Let's dive right now into today's technical analysis and check out these Bitcoin charts, shall we? Bitcoin is in a transition which should pave the way to the next bull market top, new research concludes. In the latest edition of its weekly newsletter, The Week on Chain, analytics firm Glassnode unveiled its latest tool for tracking the Bitcoin resurgence. After the 2022 bear market and signs of recovery in quarter one of this year, on-chain metrics undergone a broad transformation, many suggesting a long-term Bitcoin price bottom is already in. I think it is at 15.7. We hit that back November of last year. What are your thoughts? Now, with the price action stagnating since mid-March, doubts have returned, along with downside targets that stretch towards 20,000 for Glassnode analysts. However, Bitcoin's long-term investor base is already preparing for better times ahead. Let's go. Using existing on-chain tools, analysts unveiled a new way of tracking sentiment amongst these long-term hodlers, which are those holding Bitcoin for at least 155 days. Where are my long-term hodlers at? Now, the tool, the long-term hodler spending and profitability, splits long-term hodler behavior patterns into 4 phases. And after a period of capitulation at the end of 2022, long-term hodlers begun a transition towards a state of equilibrium before full euphoria. The next Bitcoin price cycle top hits. Capitulation is defined as a situation in which spot price is lower than the long-term hodler cost basis, Glassnode explained, with significant long-term hodler spending thus likely due to financial pressure and capitulation. Transition, meanwhile, is when the market is trading slightly above the long-term hodler cost basis and occasional light spending is part of a day-to-day trade. Now, currently, the long-term hodler cost basis as of May 30th lies at around 20,800, separate data shows. Now, quoting the week on chain, our current market had recently reached a transition phase, flagging a local uptick in long-term hodler spending this week. So depending on what direction volatility erupts next, we can employ this tool to locate the local periods of overheated conditions as observed from the lens of the long-term hodlers. Now let's discuss the equilibrium, but for how long? Now, complementing long-term hodlers, we have Bitcoin short-term hodler cohort, which corresponds to the most speculative investors, which is already on the radar. Speculative activity increased in 2023. Glassnode previously stated, making their cost basis at around 26,000 per coin, an increasingly important level. But overall, Bitcoin remains in a narrow range, having acted within a 5,000 corridor for almost 3 months. Data from Cointelegraph Markets Pro and TradingView shows. And quoting them here, the digital asset market continues to outperform major commodities in 2023. However, all are currently experiencing a meaningful correction. Having recovered from the depths of the 2022 bear market, Bitcoin investors find themselves in a form of equilibrium with little gravity in either direction, and given the extremely low volatility and narrow trading ranges of late, it seems this equilibrium is soon to be disturbed. So there you have it. Let me know if you agree or disagree. And breaking news coming out of Texas. Texas officially passes their proof of reserves Bitcoin bill, requiring exchanges to cryptographically prove they have their customers' assets. I think this is fantastic news, because if we would have had this, we would have never seen the collapse of FTX, because they would have had everyone's money, in which they just blatantly stole. So you can thank Scam Bankman-Fried. And quoting Max Keiser, Bitcoin is a store of value because it's indispensable and finite, and it's mathematically guaranteed to increase in purchasing power over time versus both fiat money and gold. That, my friend, is a fact. As we all know, fiat has no bottom and Bitcoin has no top, and Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. So the purchasing power is mathematically guaranteed to increase over time with the King Crypto. Now let's discuss major news coming out of El Salvador, which is pretty cool. Dr. Saifedean Ammous, the author of the book, The Bitcoin Standard. How many of you have read that? That was my first Bitcoin book that I read. Definitely one of my favorite. He has been appointed the economic advisor of the National Bitcoin Office in El Salvador. That's right. On May 30th, the office announced that the Austrian economists had joined the team as its advisors for matters related to various economic policies. Now, Dr. Ammous' now famous book was first published in April of 2018. It analyzes the transition between solid stores of value to inflated assets and fiat currencies, and traces the history of money, and aims to show how civilizations have changed with their monetary systems. An epic read, by the way. I recommend this to every Bitcoiner out there. Regarding the new position, he tweeted on May 30th that he was excited to work for the office in the first country to adopt a Bitcoin standard. And here's the official announcement with the photo with the president and Dr. Saifedean Ammous, as they shared here. When the author of the Bitcoin standard met the leader of the Bitcoin country, great things are bound to happen. You can say that again. We're excited to announce that Saifedean is joining us as the economic advisor to the National Bitcoin Office of El Salvador. Welcome to the winning team. Amen. They are attracting a powerhouse of incredible leadership out there, including Jack Mallers of Strike and many others. We have Max Keiser, Stacy Herbert, we have Samson Mao, and the list goes on and on. So speaking to the local media outlet Diario in El Salvador on May 30th, Ammous said what makes Bitcoin unique is that it gives you the opportunity to have a strong asset that doesn't depreciate over years. That's right. If you have money that depreciates over time, there is no point in saving, and it makes sense to get into debt, he added. But if you continue to accumulate Bitcoin for the next 5 years, there is a good chance that El Salvador will be debt-free. Well, let's go El Salvador. Now, the National Bitcoin Office reported that Dr. Ammous recently traveled to El Salvador to lecture students of CUBO Plus, a Bitcoin and Lightning Network Developers Program, to teach locals the code and concepts. He also met with the president, Bukele, and shared his thoughts on the remarkable benefits of the policy of economic liberty. And the On BTC stated that Dr. Ammous declined any remuneration for the role, that he was only interested in supporting President Bukele's Bitcoin policy. So if I understand that right, this is a free position, which he is doing for the love of Bitcoin. Now, El Salvador's National Bitcoin Office was created in November of 2022 by Bukele to manage all things crypto-related. We also have the one and only High Priest of Bitcoin, Max Keiser, and television presenter Stacy Herbert are part of Bukele's Bitcoin team. In addition to the recently appointed professor, Max Keiser commented that the Bitcoin standard orange-pilled millions, including MicroStrategy founder Michael Saylor, the first to put Bitcoin on their balance sheet for MicroStrategy, and many corporate and financial heavyweights who keep adding Bitcoin to their coffers daily. So let's freaking go. I love this news. This is major, and I think this is only the beginning as Bitcoin City continues in El Salvador. And with that being shared, speaking about Latin America, let's now discuss Cuba. That's right. The first ever Bitcoin meetup is occurring in Cuba. Bring it. Let's freaking go. Check this out, and shout out to all my Cubans. Cuban Bitcoin hosted the meetup at the Bitcoin-friendly bar and restaurant Pizzillo. Cuba Bitcoin is a lively group of Bitcoin advocates and activists whose discussions on Telegram between anonymous social media accounts that hide people's identities had yet to make it into the real world. As you can see, a lot of them are anonymous here. You can't see their faces. Now, Cuba's foray into Bitcoin signifies a departure from the centralized economic model that shaped Cuba's economic progress for decades. Despite limited internet access, financial constraints, and a socialist-styled government, the meetup underscored that Cubans are increasingly turning to crypto as a means of financial freedom and an exit from the local economy. That's right. How do you exit the matrix? You enter the Bitcoin. Co-founder of Cuba Bitcoin, Forte, told Cointelegraph, the mission of the meetup is to educate, not convince Cubans about the potential of Bitcoin in Cuba. Each person has the freedom of expression to decide what they want to do. It's education, and education first and foremost. While Bitcoin meetups in the Western world might be dominated by white middle-aged men, Cuba's Bitcoin-only meetup included a wide range of characters from small business owners to software developers to teenage students to grandmothers. More than 60 people turned up. We also had Paco de la India, a Bitcoin vlogger and evangelist who attended, delivering a talk on Bitcoin adoption around the world. Now, although Cuba is technically a centrally planned economy, the state recently relaxed laws on private business ownership. This arena is the target for a market for Bitcoin merchant adoption. As coupled with the recent crypto regulations passed in Cuba, it is now legal to accept cryptocurrencies for goods and services. Let's go. To demonstrate this, the group sold Cuba Bitcoin t-shirts for 1,000 Satoshis, which is 30 cents. Talk about a good deal. So attendees would learn about the Layer 2 Lightning Network. The t-shirts sold out. How many t-shirts would you buy for 30 cents? I'm all in. Nonetheless, the main talk of the day revolves around how to get one's hands on Bitcoin in a country where mobile internet penetration remains relatively low and smartphones are yet ubiquitous. Downloading Bitcoin applications or wallets is out of reach for many Cubans. What's more, due to the U.S. trade embargo, familiar exchanges such as Coinbase, Kraken, and Gemini are not welcome in Cuba. Interesting. As a result, to buy Bitcoin, Cubans tend to do so the OG way through peer-to-peer exchange. Thank God for that. The Bitcoin Cuba co-founder C delivered a talk on how to buy Bitcoin through peer-to-peer Telegram trading groups. Just be extremely cautious buying Bitcoin through anyone, as the majority of people out there are going to try to scam you. So I can't stress that caution enough. Now, a well-known crypto enthusiast, E-Rich Cruz, also attended the meetup, and this is what he had to share. Using Bitcoin, you can be a freedom person. We have a lot of opportunity here if we teach to all the businesses to use Bitcoin as a payment method, to use Bitcoin as a freedom tool, as that's the path. You're damn right. Now more than 10 businesses in Cuba's capital, Havana, accept Bitcoin for goods and services. Buoyed by the success of the first Cuba Bitcoin meetup, the community intends to set up regular future meetups and events. So there you have it. As adoption continues around the world, as you all know, the Bitcoin game theory in full effect. Bring it. Now let's discuss our next breaking story of the day, and that's Tether is now officially mining Bitcoin. Then we'll discuss a Bitcoin parabolic rally incoming, followed by a $500,000 Bitcoin price prediction by the one and only rich dad, Robert Kiyosaki, and then we'll dive into some live Q&A. And again, welcome to everyone just joining us in today's live show. Stablecoin issuer Tether, USDT, announced it will be launching Bitcoin mining operations in Uruguay. That's right. I believe this is out there in South America. In a May 30th announcement, Tether said it plans to start a mining arm in the South American nation in collaboration with the local licensed company. In addition to investing in Uruguay's energy production, the stablecoin issuer claimed the venture would utilize renewable energy sources aimed at sustainable Bitcoin mining and plan to hire additional team members. Quoting the CEO of Tether right here, by harnessing the power of Bitcoin and Uruguay's renewable energy capabilities, Tether is leading the way in sustainable and responsible Bitcoin mining. Our unwavering commitment to renewable energy energy ensures every Bitcoin we mine leaves a minimal ecological footprint while upholding the security and integrity of the Bitcoin network. Also like to point out that the hash rate and difficulty hit yet another all-time high, which is great when the fundamentals are soaring like this. Now, Tether citied Uruguay's capability of generating 94% of its electricity from renewable sources, such as wind, solar, and potentially hydropower, as well as its reliable grid. Job listings on the website at the time of publication also suggested expansion into South Africa and Brazil. Bring it. Like I said, game theory in full effect, fam. Let's go. The mining announcement followed Tether saying it planned to regularly allocate up to 15% of its profits into Bitcoin purchases. The stablecoin issuer reported it held roughly $1.5 billion in Bitcoin as of the first quarter of 2023 and 2% of its total reserves. Tether kept most of its holdings in cash equivalents, in United States Treasury bills. So there you have it. Tether continues to moon while Circle USDC continues to dwindle, at least in market cap. And now let's discuss a incoming Parabolic Bitcoin rally, which you should be pretty excited about. And then we'll dive into Rich Dad's $500,000 Bitcoin price prediction alongside him saying that everything is going to crash, which is going to send Bitcoin soaring. And then we'll dive to some live Q&A. And again, welcome everyone just tuning in. Let's freaking go. Here we go. Closely followed strategist says he believes Bitcoin is gearing up for a parabolic surge as the King Crypto flashes a bullish reading on the daily chart. In a new YouTube video, we got Kevin Svensson. He tells us 71,000 subs. Bitcoin's moving average convergence divergence indicator, better known as the MACD, just crossed on the daily chart. That's right. The MACD is a momentum indicator that traders use to watch possible trend reversals. And according to Svensson, Bitcoin rallied hard the last two times in which the MACD flashed a bullish cross on this daily chart. Quoting him here, these daily MACD crossovers can sometimes just be the beginning of a much larger move. We saw this earlier in March with a 45% pump coming right after our daily MACD cross up. And earlier this year, when we crossed up, we went from about 16,000 to over 20,000 to 23,000 and $24,000. So these daily MACD crossovers had yielded some pretty big moves this year, in which you can see alongside this chart. Now, as for his target for a potential Bitcoin surge, Svensson says he's looking at Bitcoin's potential parabolic setup. And according to the analyst, Bitcoin is following the parabolic curve cheat sheet to the T. Quoting him again, we are now finalizing base here. We have had base 1, we have had base 2, and now we're in base 3. And base 3 is nearing completion here, right on the edge of the parabolic curve. We do have to bounce here in order to maintain a parabolic curve. What this diagram is suggesting is that the next move would actually land us upwards of $48,000 as outlined right here in this chart. Let me know if you agree or disagree with Kevin Svensson that we can likely see a $48,000 Bitcoin price action here in the near future. And if you disagree, also let me know, as I'm going to read everyone's comments out loud. And to watch this video he did entitled Bitcoin Flashing a Bullish Signal, check the show notes below the video in the description. So there you have it. Now let's dive into our featured story of the day, and that's Rich Dad Robert Kiyosaki talking about everything is going to crash, which is going to propel the King Crypto to a $500,000 per coin, not in the next 10 years, but within the next 2 years. He says by the year 2025. Keeping in mind, right now we're in 2023. 11 months from now is the halving we all been anticipating in 2024, and then it's the year preceding the halving. We typically hit the cycle peak. That's when he is saying we hit $500,000 per Bitcoin, and along with $5,000 for an ounce of gold. So let's break this down. Robert Kiyosaki shared his latest predictions on Bitcoin, gold, and silver, and in his 97 book co-authored by Sharon Letcher. Everyone here, I'm going to assume, has read Rich Dad Poor Dad. Absolutely one of my favorite reads. Quoting him here from a tweet, giant crash coming, depression possible, Fed forced to print billions of dollars in fake money by 2025, gold at 5,000, referring to an ounce, and silver at $500, and Bitcoin at $500,000 per coin. Then he goes on. Why? Because faith in US dollar, fake money, will be destroyed. I love how he just so boldly calls it fake money, because we all know the US dollar is nothing more than a major Ponzi scheme, which is backed by nothing more than war, violence, and guns. Now, gold and silver are God's money, he says. Bitcoin is people's money, Take care. Very powerful quote. And back in January, he said we're in a global recession, warning of soaring bankruptcies. And lo and behold, how many major banks did we witness collapse? So he was spot on. The renowned author predicted that gold would soar to $3,800 while silver would rise to $75. That's this year in 2023. And he also said last December that gold, silver, and Bitcoin owners will get richer when the Federal Reserve pivots and prints trillions of dollars. And lo and behold, we all know the money printer continued to go. Also, Kiyosaki is not the only one who is bullish about the price of Bitcoin. Crypto-focused investment firm Pantera Capital recently said we're in the next bull market cycle. Also, investment management firm ARK Invest expects Bitcoin to become a multi-trillion-dollar market, predicting Bitcoin can reach $1.48 million per coin, as per Kathy Wood of ARK Invest. And if you haven't watched that episode I just did yesterday, make sure to check it out as I cover this prediction in great length. Now, Kiyosaki also warned that everything will crash, but advised investors not to panic. He added that he plans to buy more gold, silver, and Bitcoin. And the famous author previously said that he is a Bitcoin investor, not a trader, so he gets excited when Bitcoin hits a new bottom. So there you have it. BTFD. Buy that freaking dip. And do you agree or disagree with Robert Kiyosaki's $500,000 Bitcoin price prediction by 2025? Let me know in the comments below. And what are your thoughts surrounding Kathy Wood's $1.48 million Bitcoin price prediction by 2030? Also let me know in the comments right down below. And now for some live Q&A. And shout out to each and every one of you in today's live chat. I appreciate the support. Chris Minka, Nathan Roth, Coin Father, Jeff was poppin'. Good to see the fam in the building. Selling with Twins, good to see you. Gratefulness, welcome. Kevin, welcome. Good to see you as well. Always a pleasure, fam. Good to see Jeff S. Coin Father, always a pleasure. Chris Minka, yes, fifth column. Jesse Santillano, good to see you. Grateful for you as well. We got Kevin Harandi. Good to see you as well. And I'm going to scroll all the way to the top, and we're going to start reading all these comments out loud. Try to share as much as humanly possible. Good morning. I went to the organic market yesterday to stock up on CBD products. Needless to say, I slept well last night, says Jeff. Well, congratulations. CBD is a tremendous product. And when I say CBD, I'm not talking about central bank digital currency. I'm talking about CBD oil derived from the hemp plant. It is tremendous for your health. I use it for recovery and also for sleeping. I think it's tremendous, and I think it is one of those products that everyone should check out. It could do things like prevent cancer and things of this nature. So CBD products are amazing. I've been on them for quite a few years now, and I take it every day. So just wanted to throw that out there. Love that they're auditing them. Make sure they're validly backed. That's definitely a win in my book. Word up. It was my first visit. I was blown away by how everything was packaged and commercialized. No more pain in my sleep. It's good to hear that. Back in the day, I would have bought 1/4 ounce in a baggie from a guy behind the gas station. Yeah, it's cool that it's like times have changed and we can purchase CBD oil. You can purchase it online, you know what I mean, and get a really good sourced product. Is what it is. Medicinal purposes only. That's right. It doesn't have to have THC in it. The CBD benefits the body tremendously, and it don't have to have any of the psychoactive effects, if you know what I mean. Unless you prefer that, you can get it with the THC infused, but that probably won't come online. You'll probably have to go to your local dispensary, just FYI. Yeah, soon real money will be digital and paper money will be a novelty. That's right. We will have no money physical, only a matter of time. I mean, look at credit cards. How many people currently are using plastic money, for example, debit or credit card versus cash? Not as many people are using cash. Back in the day when I was a youngin', everyone used cash. And my dad would always tell me, cash is king. Well, guess what? Cash is no longer the king. You know what the king is, right? BTC. You already know, fam. If you don't believe it or don't get it, I don't have the time to try to convince you. Quoting the late, great Satoshi. And I shouldn't say late, great, because for all we know, Satoshi is still thriving and he just hasn't moved any of his funds, which is a mystery. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the person who controls Satoshi's wallet, do you think Satoshi has vanished and maybe ascended to another dimension? Or do you think he is still amongst us and just never moved a single Bitcoin out of that wallet? That's a great question because I believe it's multiple million. Was it like 2-3 million Bitcoin sitting in Satoshi's wallet? So if you really want to do the math, and we talk about Bitcoin being the a finite money supply, there can only ever be 21 million in circulation. If we contribute all the lost coins and all the stagnant coins in wallets such as Satoshi's, then we're down to roughly 16 million Bitcoin, making it that much more scarce, that much more finite, and that much more valuable. And you can look at that as ultimately a gift to everyone in the network, which I believe Satoshi said in a clever way one time. You know what I mean? So it's the gift that keeps on giving, BTC. Here at Crypto News Alerts, we give you the tools to understand it, so no more excuses, 100%. I mean, if you're still trusting the banks and the governments at the end of the day, you're on the wrong channel, right? We're anti-CBDC here. We're anti-authoritarianism, and we're pro-Bitcoin. And anyone who is representing Bitcoin, I respect and we look up to. Anyone who is against it, got to take what you say with a grain of salt. You know what I mean? It just is what it is. And for the presidential race of 2024, Bitcoin has become a bipartisan issue. We have a Democrat, Kennedy Jr. We also have DeSantis, both pro-Bitcoin and anti-CBDC, and they're both running for president. So according to Max Kaiser, the high priest of Bitcoin, he says the single biggest issue this election will be Bitcoin. I hope he's right, because if we get another elected president that is anti-Bitcoin, man, we're going to have to all go to El Salvador because the United States is done for. I'm just saying. We all know Trump is anti-Bitcoin because he's pro-central bank. We all know Biden is anti-Bitcoin because he's pro-central bank. They're both pro-CBDCs. They're both pro-Pfizer and all these, pharmaceutical companies which are pillaging the United States and the people. That's why they promote these things. It is what it is. Hope that's not a surprise to anyone here. I mean, common sense, right? Don't forget to smash the like on your way in and subscribe and set up notifications using the bell icon. If you haven't, couldn't have said that better myself. Digital dankness, I appreciate that. And yes, on the screen right now, that's a QR code to the Bitcoin Lightning Network to my wallet. So if anyone wanted to send a tip, you can do so. Also in the description, as per popular request, in the video below, you can also see the address. If for some reason you're unable to scan something on your phone and send it via like a Strike app using Lightning, you can send it directly to that Lightning address as well, and I will receive it directly without any middleman. Whereas if you send a super chat contribution through YouTube, which I also greatly appreciate, I've been receiving them for years, the sad news is YouTube steals, I shouldn't say steal, but they take their cut, the rake, which is roughly 30%. So every time someone sends me a $5 tip, that's $2 to YouTube, $3 to JV. So if you do it through the Lightning QR, bada boom, bada bing, and you zap it, I receive 100% of it. How freaking awesome is that? You know what I mean? Satwise Jenks, and I appreciate that, was your recommendation to do that. So much love. Everyone show Satwise some love. Much love and respect, fam. Yes, this is pod episode number 1298. Time sure does fly. That means in 2 days we'll be on episode number 1300, and tomorrow will be June 1st. So say goodbye to May 31st. Hopefully we get a strong monthly close, but we shall soon see. You know what I mean? We'll see where we at. For Rizzle, my nizzle, says thankness, I think Kiyosaki is right. We are about 2 to 4 months away from the USA announcing recession, which will be stagflation to harness buying power. Bitcoin and gold and hard assets will do well into 2025, says the coin father. Much love and much respect. Yeah, somehow knows was a good play for the upcoming swans. Nathan, we got to meet one of these days. The wife is concerned. She says Bitcoin is like gambling. What can I say? Well, as they say, happy wife, happy life. And as they say, I'm going to make up a saying. If your wife doesn't understand Bitcoin and she thinks it's gambling, maybe time to find a new significant other. Maybe. Just saying. I like to meet a few family here for show, says Nathan Roth. Hope to meet some of you in Santa Monica in October, and then at the Crypto News Alerts $100,000 party in 2024. That's what's up. So a Santa Monica meeting is occurring in October. If anyone wants to meet up with CoinFather and other Bitcoiners, be sure to reach out to him here in the live chat. And that is also correct. In 2024, more than likely, Bitcoin will finally hit a six-figure price action, hitting a new all-time high. Once we do, we are going to have an epic, and when I say epic, I mean epic Bitcoin get together here in, of course, Puerto Rico, and you're all invited. The only rule, no perma bears to rain on our parade. So Peter Schiff, you're not welcome. Well, maybe we'll invite Peter Schiff now that he's minting his own NFT collection on the Bitcoin blockchain and all. You never know. But how cool would that be? I have no desire to go to Nashville for Bitcoin 2024 unless work were to let me and pay for it. I'm curious why they chose Nashville. I know it's a great place for country singing, but for a Bitcoin conference, it kind of left me a little puzzled. Santa Monica is the playground for the rich and famous. Yeah, that's right. The Board Yacht Club is gambling. That's like gambling on a race with only one horse. You kind of can't lose. Good point. Grateful List says, nice to see the Crypto News Alerts cryptocurrency family again. Bless you all. God bless to you as well. Jesse Santitiliano, that's why I am buying, because of no coiners like you are bearish. Yeah. And it's a fact. It's interesting. The people who are always bearish on Bitcoin are always no coiners. Like the trolls that come in here, it's because they don't own any. And now they think they missed the boat. And instead of purchasing Bitcoin at 27,000, they rather just buy ish coins for a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a fraction of a penny and hope to get rich. It's called gambling, but it is what it is. And those people truly don't understand Bitcoin to begin with, haven't put in your 10,000 hours of research. And hey, I think within 100 hours of research, you should know, what's authentic when it's presented in front of you. But some people just never learn. Some people don't have the patience, and they just rather continue with their ish coinery versus investing into the king that we all know is going to be here for generations to come. But it is what it is. Are stocks or ETFs gambling? Good question. Maybe it depends. You know what I mean? Alan Haley, that's a good question. That's why I'm buying, because no coiners are like the bearish. What's up, fam? What's good, Chris Minka? Madison, Wisconsin in the building. What's up, Fifth Column? Good to see you as well. That's right. Bitcoin is number go up technology, mathematically guaranteed to increase in purchasing power every 4 years, which is every Bitcoin halving cycle. Keep it in mind, right? The last all-time high was November of 2021. We hit $69,000. I'm anticipating, just a 2x from the recent previous all-time highs. That's $140,000 price action, fam. Very easily accomplished. If we 3x, holy moly, we're talking about 200,000 plus. Now we're getting into the territory, what I believe is a possibility sometime between 2024 and 2025. But you guys, let me know your thoughts. Maybe relocating to Virginia Beach in January, says Coinfather. Word up, what's in Virginia Beach? Let me know. Don't forget, I am a Crypto News Alerts realtor. Are you, Nathan? Good to note. Good stuff. Contemplating sale GRT. Interesting. Nathan, I will keep you in mind when I'm ready to buy. I do have a realtor for my house being sold in Madison. Here to serve my Crypto News Alerts fan with any real estate buy, sells, or investments. So anyone looking to buy, sell, or get into real estate, reach out to Nathan Roth. Good stuff. Happy 420 to you as well, fam. Nathan, I'm still 9 months away until I'm happy for my medical card. Word up. Nathan, I feel Fed will not go over 7.25%, so we are closer to the end of hikes. And I'm curious, Nathan, with the interest rates on the rise, have you noticed the decline in real estate sales? I noticed the premium properties here in Puerto Rico, they were popping 2, 3, 4, 5. I even saw like a house sale for like $20 million. I'm like, holy moly. But now I've noticed the sales have slowed down, and I think it's in because of the interest rates, which continue to go up. Less investors are looking to, spend that much money with the higher end real estate. At least that's what I'm noticing here in Puerto Rico. Not to say that $1 million homes aren't being sold every day, but just overall in general, because about a year ago, it seemed like everything was just moving, and the entire market was just booming. And it seems to have slowed down, at least this year, from my perspective. Minnie Madoff reminds me of John Gotti. In what ways? Scam Bankman-Fried is the least gangster person I've ever seen. He is a fake vegan, a fat vegan. I can call him a fake vegan, right? Coming from a vegetarian myself. You know what I mean? He was stealing everyone's Bitcoin and replacing it with fake Ponzi coins such as FTT. You can't make this stuff up. At least John Gotti was like a real gangster. He had street cred. I don't think Scam Bankman-Fried has any street cred, but hey, just saying. Gary Gensler is a duck. Audit Gary Gensler, Mr. No Clarity Gary. I love that gratefulness. It is what it is. Yesterday, bought a little box inside the box with a little glass vial, and it was rolled organic dankness. That's what's up. Brad Garlinghouse and Ripple XRP, the best to ever do it. Facts, says gratefulness. Well, we have to keep in mind, XRP has been pumping. It just reached, a 6-month high above 50 cents. And still above 50 cents, even though it's in the red now after pumping maybe 5-6% yesterday. But we all know the settlement with the SEC is almost over, and a lot of people are anticipating a $2 plus XRP price off the back of that news. We shall soon see. How many of you are bullish on XRP right now and think they'll win versus the SEC in that lawsuit? Let me know. Also heard that the damages as a result of the lawsuit could end up costing Ripple $1 billion or up to $1 billion. So Mr. No Clarity Gary getting rich. And did you know that No Clarity Gary was already rich before he took this position as the chairman of the SEC? Do some math, do some research. I believe the man is worth over roughly like $200 million, something ridiculous. I don't have the exact number in front of me, but trust me when I say that man is taken care of for life. He comes from, Goldman Sachs background. He also worked with the CFTC before. I believe his position, he was appointed to provide no clarity, to ultimately screw the United States crypto market, bringing adoption more overseas, which we're witnessing. Major exchanges around the world opening up shop. We have Binance now opening up shop in freaking Japan, as I covered in yesterday's story. We have Coinbase, we got Kraken, we got Gemini, also all opening up derivative spots in different countries around the world, such as Bermuda. They're all looking to exit the United States, and I don't blame them. There is no clarity. Thank No Clarity Gary. Just saying. Satoshi, this is the way. You already know. That was all commercialized packaging. The king. Word up. We can all thank the USA government for the Bitcoin price going up and continuing to do so because they have quantitative easing and quantitative tightening to fiat to infinity. You already know, fam, for real, for real, for real. I will start the first Bitcoin meetup in Virginia Beach, and I will arrive there because as of now, there is not one yet. I'm curious how many watching this video right now reside in the beautiful country of Puerto Rico. Because who knows? Maybe we could have a meetup before that $100,000 party. If we can get a crew of you guys that want to meet up, we can make it happen. Let me know. Curious. Let me know in the chat. Chris and Matthew, what's good? Good to see you, Matthew. We also think all the trees that will be saved if we all move to Bitcoin. Yeah, that's right. No more printing fiat Ponzi scheme dollars. Let's freaking go. Love Rich Dad, but he has been saying this crash is coming for 20 years. Well, I think he's going to be right. The crash is coming. I mean, the crash is happening in real time. But what would you define as the absolute crash? Would that mean dollar going to zero? We are hyperinflating here in the United States. The purchasing power of the dollar is dwindling. Look at how much a dozen eggs cost. Look how much gas costs. Look how much real estate costs. When I moved to this island in Puerto Rico in 2018, real estate was a fraction of the price that it is today. It's more than doubled, potentially tripled since I came to this island like 5-6 years ago. And the prices will probably just continue to soar. And it's not just a Puerto Rico thing. It's the entire United States because the dollar's purchasing power is being destroyed on purpose by corrupt, greedy central banking cartels. You know what I mean? It's the facts. Keep in mind, markets repeat when they rhyme. Don't often repeat, but they rhyme. Stocks usually come down. So to correct about 6-4 weeks after Bitcoin tops. So I expect to see the stock market to correct in the coming 2 weeks. Coinfather says, great book. I bet you're referring to the Bitcoin Standard by Saifedean. Definitely the #1 go-to. I call it the Bitcoin Bible. If someone asks, where do I learn more about Bitcoin? I say purchase the Bitcoin Standard. It's definitely the way to go. I'm sure Satoshi had a different name and mined it separately. Satoshi had 1.1 million Bitcoin. Okay, thank you for sharing. In 15,000 addresses. Is this accurate, Chris? So I never heard that Satoshi had 15,000 addresses. If that's true, that's very interesting. Part of what I fear is that Bitcoin will go to $1 million per coin, but a coffee will cost a quarter Bitcoin. Well, that sure as hell wouldn't be good. I don't think it would because you're going to be comparing Bitcoin eventually to gold. There's not going to be a comparison of fiat and Bitcoin because kind of like Bitcoin Cash or Satoshi Vision, its value in comparison to Bitcoin is dwindling the same way the dollar is being destroyed versus Bitcoin. Lo and behold, I mean, Bitcoin is up something roughly 20 million% in the past decade versus the US dollar. It'll continue to be that way. So I don't ever see a cup of coffee costing a quarter Bitcoin. It's going to cost a fraction of a fraction. It's going to be in alignment. And gold will be probably the, standard. Maybe there'll be multiple world reserve currency standards. Maybe it could be gold. Maybe it could be Bitcoin. Maybe it could be another precious metal. Maybe it could be something the BRICS release, which they've already been in talks about discussing, like a rare earth precious metal. They didn't say gold in particular. They just said a rare earth precious metal. So we shall soon see. Tony Jeffries in the building. Welcome anything Bitcoin. Better late than never. You already know that. What's good? Matthew, appreciate it. Been busy lately, fam. Always great to listen to the Crypto News Alerts live. Going to catch the replay. Greatly appreciate that. And as always, thank you. Coinfather says, Mike, well, confiscating gold will do nothing because we already see gold bugs moving some of their holdings to the true hard asset, Bitcoin. You make a great point. They've already confiscated gold, and the Gold Confiscation Act was back in the 1930s. So it can happen again. In fact, they can steal all of your money. So whatever you have in the bank, they can steal it if they need it, because it may not even exist in the first place. Do you understand that? Do you understand the words that are coming out of my mouth? Come on, family, smash that like button. I appreciate the reminder, Nathan Roth. It means a lot. Government will circle back again and confiscate gold, as the government will continue to steal like they did in 1933. That's right. Governments cannot be trusted. Got to hold them accountable. How do we hold them accountable? Bitcoin standard. Incorruptible, uncorruptible, you know what I mean? Censorship resistant money, which is borderless. You can't compare to it. You know what I mean? Facts. I agree with you 100% there. Debit card banksters will become dinosaurs because the Lightning Network is disruptive technology. 100%. Who wants to pay 3-4% per transaction to use these railways such as Visa or MasterCard? When you have Lightning, it's virtually free and instantaneous. And the settlement is the transaction. Do you understand how powerful that is? We don't need remittances using Western Union or MoneyGram any longer. And do you know how big of a market this is? That's why El Salvador is leading the way. It's showing the rest of the world what's possible, right? As it continues to disrupt these dinosaur basically these outdated technologies, which should have gone a very, very long time ago. And I agree with you, Satwise. So thank you for sharing. Waldo says, if the dollar crashes, is the value of Bitcoin really more if we measure the value of Bitcoin against the dollar? Well, that's the point. We got to stop measuring the value of Bitcoin versus the dollar, because when the dollar is completely hyperinflated, what are we going to say? One Bitcoin is 20 million USD. You know what I mean? So there have to be a different standard. And I think that's where gold comes in. I'm sure Satoshi had a different name and mined it separately. Part of what I fear is that Bitcoin will go. Thank you for sharing your fears, Michael. I don't think that's going to be a problem. Nathan says, what everyone's choice of cold storage now? My personal choice is the Trezor. It's my favorite Bitcoin wallet. It's open source. And they're not partnered with the World Economic Forum like Ledger is, as Ledger more recently came out and said they have this new, ultimately, technology where you can take your private key and send it to 3 third parties. But hey, they also said that, this is the CEO of Ledger, that if the government required them to provide these private keys, they would have to comply with the government, which means the government would have access to your private keys. So I no longer trust the Ledger whatsoever. Trezor's my go-to, but there's a lot of other good options out there nowadays as well. So keep that in mind. You know what I mean? Smash the like. Appreciate that, fam. If the dollar crashes, you will see Aussies or assets rise. Bitcoin is an asset. It will have a value, and that value is when fiat fails is yet to be seen. Facts, you got it. Currently, I'm moving my bag to Trezor, says Volkman, smart man. I hope Satoshi's last million are in a humanitarian trust to be unlocked after the final Bitcoin has been minted. Word up, wouldn't that be awesome? YouTube takes it too big of a cut. Yeah, that's right. That's why you got to use Lightning Network 100%. Keep 100%, no middleman. At the end of the day, that's the way to go. It is. What's going on, Trini? Good to see you. Great wife, great life, says Jeff. I am luckier than most. My wife also stacks sats. That's what's up. Much love, much respect. YouTube equals censoring thrives. 100% boomer futurist. You already know, fam. She is my unicorn. Well, she's a keeper. Finally got my Blockstream Jades. Might do a video unpack, and definitely do that Satwise and send it to me. I'd love to see it. Trizzy, what's up? Anyone want to meet up in Liverpool? Shout out to the UK. Much love from Tony Jeffries. Too hot in July in Nashville. Also very hot here in Puerto Rico. So now I have to figure out how to email a lightning tip too, right? Sat-wise, I had to learn the hard way. You can hold the button on the bottom of the Jade for 10 to 15 seconds to shut it off. I'll slip an orange pill in her wine. There you go. The real value of Bitcoin is 300,000 when compared to world assets. Now we're talking. Good morning, JB and Crypto News Alerts fam. Welcome, JDub21 Mil. Good to see you, fam. How you been? Nate Dogg in the building. Yes, sir. Markets are slowing down. Fed won't be able to service the debt at 7%, not without printing money. Phil C says government won't be able to service the debt at 7%. Paul, what's good? Paul P, welcome, welcome, welcome. Mathematically impossible to service without turning the spigot. That's right. Coin Daddy in the building was good. Good to see the fam. As for real, though, people were talking about the Bitcoin conference, but it was amazing. I was able to meet Max Kaiser. Congratulations. Michael Saylor, Stifadian, Caitlin Long, Peter McCormick. Freaking epic. Don't believe the BS. Love to hear that and glad to hear you had a good time. Yes, Bitcoin back above 27,000. Send it. Let's freaking go. Bitcoin is the lifeboat. The book makes me smile. 100% Tony Jeffries. You're damn right. So true. Bitcoin is our life yacht. Facts. Preach. Just traded my ledger for a cold card in J2, fellas. Good call. My wife is a sat stacker as well as my 5 and 9-year-old boys. That's what's up. Yeah, dude, it was freaking crazy. I left Bullish as what? That's awesome. I love to hear that. Good to see you guys had a great time. With that being shared, fam, now for a recap of what I covered with you here in today's show. I broke down the latest technical analysis as Bitcoin hodlers exited capitulation above 20,000, new metric hints. We also discussed breaking news. Texas passes the Proof of Reserves Bitcoin bill requiring exchanges to cryptographically prove they have their customers' assets. We also discussed major news coming out of El Salvador with the Bitcoin Standard author, Saifedean, becomes an economic advisor to El Salvador. Shout out to Bukele. Also in today's show, we discuss Cuba Bitcoin community hosts a Bitcoin-only meetup. Cuba, let's go. Cuban cigar, anyone? Also, we discussed Tether moves into Bitcoin mining in Uruguay. We also discussed Bitcoin parabolic rally in play as Bitcoin flashes a bullish signal. And we also discussed rich dad Robert Kiyosaki predicting that everything is going to crash, ultimately sending the Bitcoin price to $500,000 per coin by the year 2025, along with $5,000 per an ounce of gold. But where do you feel the Bitcoin price is likely to go next?